Have you heard about plasma energy and all the amazing healing potential it has? Many have experienced how plasma energy can help your body. Recent university tests have shown the effectiveness of balancing plasma energy and putting your body back into biological balance. Tests have shown success in lab animals and human beings by altering conditions of cancer, AIDS, diabetes, malaria, Ebola, E. coli, high blood pressure, brain issues in adults and children, and many other imbalances in the body. Learn more from Dr. Paul and researcher Lynn Schmaltz and how they are using plasma energy to help people heal. See the link below.
Well, and this helps explain why so many of our treatments, the chemical level treatments, just are not super effective. You know, it's because we're dealing with symptoms. Even at the chemical level, you're still dealing with symptoms versus getting to the core. And it might take a combo package to solve a problem like cancer or whatever, but we're still not getting to the, you know, and so this understanding sound is like suddenly in electricity is you're starting to get to the core. And I've had different, Wallace Thornhill and other people on about electricity, and you know, there's so many fields that we need to open up, and this being one of them, of just really understanding how our universe and our bodies and everything works, and the giant leaps mankind can make in space and everywhere. Because I know they're doing a lot with plasma energy as far as light speed travel. I mean, amazing stuff that is capable of happening. But you got to get to that understanding to make that next giant leap. And I think you're at the edge of making a giant leap in medicine. But it's just too bad that we don't have the universities getting it yet.
Well, we're working on that. So, you know, actually next month, I am conducting a research study that we've been working on for 2 years now. I'm working with an organization called the Consciousness and Healing Initiative, also called CHI. And they are a team of PhD researchers, many of whom already have published papers in more mainstream medical journals on the biofield. And so what we're doing is we're testing my hypothesis, my biofield anatomy hypothesis, which essentially says that consciousness isn't just found inside the brain, but around the body as well. And that what we call the biofield is what we call mind, memory, consciousness, and this whole idea of self is in this bioplasmic system that surrounds and interpenetrates us, our plasma, our electric self. And that's a really big claim, you know, because it goes completely contrary. What I'm saying is that the body is inside the mind and not the other way around.
Well, that is so excellent, because it's getting our universities, that's what we need to be able to get our universities taking those steps to that next level, are people like you leading the way, and other PhD people you're working with, and I have other scientists that I'm working with as well in different areas like this, all trying to get the seriousness of this to go forward.
Yeah. So this particular study, what we're doing is we are having 3 practitioners come in one at a time to work with a series of 10 volunteers. And we are each going to sense to see if we can find specific areas of turbulence in specific zones. And then we're going to see if that correlates. So will 3 people find the same areas of turbulence in a person's field? And, you know, is there an objectivity to what I've kind of subjectively discovered? Now, certainly, you know, when we teach classes and things like that, we find that we're able to do this. So what I hope that this will do is open up the field and be like, listen, we did this. This is what we found. And it certainly doesn't have all the answers, but let's go looking for the answers, because look what I've been able to do with just a tuning fork, you know, in the field. And there are so many other kinds of success stories too. You know, people getting rid of pain, all kinds of different ailments. But I think the biggest thing, and what makes me the most excited about the work, is that it liberates people to their potential. Because all of this stuck energy and noise diminishes us. And when we liberate that, when we take that energy and we maximize its potential and we bring it into flow and we bring it into harmony, people do amazing things. You know, we're all so amazing, and we all have so much potential, and we're all kind of trapped inside our pain bodies and our limiting beliefs and our stories and all of this stuff that stops us from really moving forward in the way that we're being directed.
Well, and I think of it as, people always say, follow your passion. And I'm like, well, and the reason why that matters is the scientific mapping of that it's where you resonate and where you operate at your highest level and what you're meant to do, because it just works with who you are. And that ends up being your passion. So there's actually even science around that and why it works.
Yeah. And everybody, the thing is that I discovered is that everybody's potential is so amazing. And we've all been so heavily programmed with stories that we're not worthy. And that is really what gets in the way more than anything, is sort of original sin. I'm a guilty sinner. And that holds back so much life force from flowing through us. It's not easy to say, I'm amazing, and I was given all these amazing gifts by the Creator, and it's my job, to give those gifts to the world, those amazing gifts that I've been given. Most people just don't feel worthy of stepping into that. And even if they did, they have so many kind of restrictions out of habit, mind viruses. We're riddled with mind viruses.
It's our culture, but even Christianity, like Jesus, the forgiving of sins, they took on those sins for you, and the love and all this stuff, so that you can move forward and be the best you can be. I mean, that's what that is. That's my belief and what that's about.
But it's in the way, it's like,
I agree.
Jesus sins, but I'm still a guilty sinner. They tend to be kind of layered in there together.
I know. Yeah, I know. Although it shouldn't be. But yeah, I mean, this is just great. I love what you're doing. Now, you have a book, and in your book, does it map out? Does that include your map, your latest book? I know it's like a top-selling book, and people love it. But does it have the actual map and stuff in it?
It has the whole map. So, what I discovered, I went through kind of every zone in the field, feet, knees, 7 major chakras, kind of exploring, the information that was there. And what I found was that each zone was kind of like a file drawer, where every time we experienced a particular waveform of a particular emotion, that it would just get stored there. So, for example, anger, when we feel anger, it shows up in the area off the liver. And, in Chinese medicine, the liver is actually kind of related to anger and other systems as well. And that was what I found. When we feel frustrated, it shows up off our left hip. When we feel blocked moving forward, whether through our own self-sabotage or from other people, it shows up in the right knee. And I basically found that whenever some part of your body starts to go south, that whatever part of your mind that body part is in, is what is causing it to break down. That the sadness, heavy sadness, is making your left shoulder hurt. Overdoing for others is making your right shoulder hurt. And so I outlined that all, and Tuning the Human Biofield, it goes through each zone and imbalances that are there and kind of stories that go along with it.
Well, it's incredible, because at some point we're going to understand how our DNA maps to our biofield and how all that works together, because it is a code. It's another code. The DNA is another code, and all those systems are coded together. We just don't get it yet.
Right. So some of the really interesting features that I've discovered in the biofield anatomy are these 2 streams of energy that come down about 10 inches off of the sides of our shoulders. So about 10 inches out, there's what I call these ancestral rivers that flow just all the way through our field. And when I stick a fork in an ancestral river, I hear all of the kind of what I call the energenetics, or the tone of the song of our DNA. And, we tend to think of things chemically, right, and encoded, but really it's all just vibrational expression. And so, if we have parents who are depressed, who are anxious, we inherit that energetic patterning. And sometimes it can go on for generations. We've treated many people who have, let's say, depression, and it was evident that they came in with it. Their mom had depression, and maybe her mom had depression. And so these people are trying to treat their depression at the level of me and mine. But really, the roots of that depression might go back 3 or 4 generations or more. And so it isn't your depression, it's the depression. And it's just a tonal story that can be shifted, just like music. So our DNA is really much more like a living musical composition than some kind of chemical code. You know, it's much more fluid and dynamic and musical. And what's so amazing is that when we stick a fork in the ancestral river, we can harmonize the flow. We can actually shake the noise out of that concentration camp or that whatever, you know, that's in your DNA. We can shake the noise out and we can bring it back to its pure, true signal. And then you get to inherit all the really great stuff from your ancestors and not their burdens, their traumas, their stories, their noise.
Well, it's so great because if we had more people in this field, and as you start, you're just cracking the surface, it seems like, and you've got amazing crack in the surface, but then we could start really decoding like that DNA sequence and how that works. It's just, there's so much possibility, and humans have so much possibility that as we start to wander into some of these realms, that's what I mean, huge leap forwards in our understanding of humanity, you know, of just our world.
Yeah.
I'm excited about it.
I know. There's a Tesla quote about once we start studying all this stuff, you know, we're going to go really fly forward. There was a lot of forces in play that, you know, that maybe don't want that to happen. I mean, you know, when I really think through the biofield model and the potential there, really nobody needs to get sick ever.
Yeah.
You know,
I know.
Signal is clear and strong and bright and sharp, and we're resilient and adaptive. We've all eliminated millions of jobs and trillions of dollars of revenue.
Well, and that's where people need to get more creative. There are other ways we can make money versus off people's misery. There are infinite ways that we can, you know, make money or operate and do things. And that's the sad part, is people get stuck in this only one way of doing things. There are other ways, you know, people say we can get beyond money, but let's even get in the paradigm of money. You can do other things besides just have healthcare.
Yeah.
Right? You know, there are other ways to make money. Once we have free energy, we have free healthcare, we have all these things that, and even that would be free. You go tune yourself, whatever. There's a cost to that. So it would just be different services, different, and it'd be us being able to reach our potential. It's just that people get locked in these scared, it's fear that they're fearful instead of, okay, let's break this down and say we can do more and be better than this. But I 100% agree, because I'm covering all the evil that I'm seeing in this world, and in order to move forward, I think we gotta start breaking that stuff down, because all this amazing technology that's coming forward, if we don't get rid of some of this incredible corruption, it can be used in bad ways instead of good ways. And we're right at the edge of really breaking through, and with people like you and others that are doing this amazing work.
Yeah, I think that, you know, that's one of the reasons I just started this podcast called Think Electrically. And I'm going to be interviewing all these people who know all different kinds of things about electricity. And not even just electricity, you know, going beyond plasma into ether, and how, you know, most of us are living in a cosmological framework of solid, liquid, and gas. But there are two additional states of matter that we're not taught about, just like we're not taught about Tesla, not the car Tesla, but, you know, Tesla's a scientist. Because Tesla was harnessing the power of the plasma and the ether, and he wanted to give free electricity to everybody. And they're like, oh no, we can't let people know about that. We can't let people know that they're surrounded and that we're swimming in a sea of electricity, and that it's all interconnected. I think that, you know, ether physics is something that we can change the whole world with, just understanding the ether better. And yet everybody's been told that it doesn't exist. So explore something if science doesn't even acknowledge that it exists.
Well, there's whole fields, like Wallace Thornhill was saying, there's whole fields that we need to explore. You know, I mean, our whole universities need to be redone, and whole fields need to be explored. But the process of maybe that's what we do over the next century, is all of our universities get reformulated and everything and so our physics can be redone, our mathematics can start representing this. and we just start moving together. You know, we start moving finally in a much different way. But it's going to take some time. You know, Galileo was persecuted heavily. So,
it might and it might not. I mean, sometimes a crisis will bring about a change. I mean, I'm of the belief that we need to tear down everything and like start all over again, with education, with healthcare, with everything, with government. I mean, it's all taking us over a cliff, and we can just keep falling in line and go over the cliff with this sort of patriarchal, top-down, solid liquid gas world. Or, you know, I know that I do everything. I work as hard as I can every day to bring more harmony into the world, that even in the sort of chaos of a world in decline, there is a new kind of order emerging from that.
Yes. People are like, okay, this is crazy. I mean, the stuff I'm covering, it's to the point where, oh my gosh, but I'm growing so much through it, and I'm hoping my listeners are. Because it's so dark at times, you know, some of the stuff I cover, but it's truth and it's important. And that's why I like to talk and get, you know, like you on and Wallace Thornhill and other scientists on, Max and Phil, to really bring us forth on how cool and how amazing we really are. Because all this dark stuff, we can overcome that. And then here's kind of the light at the end of the, you know, this is where we're going. The other side of the bridge is this, and this is amazing.
I know. And, you know, from where I sit, I see more and more light coming into the world all the time. You know, every time I teach a Biofield Tuning class, I see people's wattage go up. You know, people come in and they're kind of like in their story and heavy and baggage and blah, blah, blah. And then as, you know, as they go through their training and as they go through their practice, they become lighter and lighter and lighter. I mean, visibly lighter. You see it in their eyes. You see it in their skin. People become more playful. You know, as you go up in the levels of training in Biofield Tuning, we laugh more and more and more. And that's just part of that light and that lightness, you know, because the whole world is a collection of us individually, and we've all been so kind of beaten down and disempowered. Our educational system, you come out the other end of your educational system here and you think that you don't matter, that you have no power, that you're isolated, that you're not good enough. And there's so many lies that are programmed into us that diminish us and darken us and make us heavy. And, you know, it certainly happened to me. I, at 18, thought I was schizophrenic. I was bulimic. I was miserable beyond belief. I was so messed up in the head. And I went off on a quest to heal myself, to figure out what's truth and how do I get healthy. And I've never stopped on that quest to figure that out. And the truth of who we are is that we are light beings. We are connected to each other and to the universe. It's through that connection that we have abundance and that we have power. And of course, that's all known, which is why we're all kept like dark and miserable and isolated. Because if we really woke up to just how powerful and bright and amazing we are, like the world would change pretty quickly.
Yeah, you're doing great work. How can people learn more about you?
So people can learn more about Biofield Tuning at biofieldtuning.com. And, you know, there's some information about me there. There's my book, Tuning the Human Biofield. I'm working on a new book right now called Raise Your Voltage, Health from an Electric Perspective. And that's really, you know, I love sound and all, but what sound has led me to is this understanding of our electric nature. I've started looking at health from an electrical perspective instead of like this sort of chemical mechanical perspective. And this idea that like I'm a battery and I have an inner battery meter, and that, you know, if you're sick, like let's say you've got Lyme, for example, like lots of people do, or Epstein-Barr, you know, in the chemical mechanical world, you're going to look for things you can put in your mouth to try to fix that. In the electrical world, we're going to work on getting your battery up, because when your voltage is high enough, your body fixes everything. Your body will fix itself. You don't need to put anything in your mouth. You just need to start taking care of your electrical body. And one of the questions that I always ask people in my classes is, who receives as much as they give? And do you know how many people raise their hand?
Zero. Everybody feels like they give way more than they give or get. Yes.
The more you give and the more you give. My mom, I give and I give and I give. And what thanks do I get? And no recharging, none. just this martyring over giving. And then, once a month she'd end up with a migraine on the couch, and that was how she rested and recharged. Took a migraine to put her on the couch to recharge before she got back up and started being a martyr again.
Well, it's hard not being a martyr as a mom sometimes when you're just like, give me a break. But
people are in
so I get it. But go ahead.
You've got an autistic child and a parent with Alzheimer's. I mean,
yeah.
You have no choice but to give and give and give. But the thing is that 66% of caregivers die before the people they're taking care of. So that's a problem. Like, we've got to help the caregivers to get their own batteries up. And it's really simple. They're very, very simple things that you can do. And I'm going to outline all those in my next book to start to raise your battery meter. And it doesn't have to be hard. And you don't have to buy supplements that you're going to throw away a half empty bottle, 2 years later when you're cleaning a cupboard. It's thinking electrically and working with sound has really helped me to overcome like every health issue that I've had. And, I used to have terrible digestion and a weak digestion, can't have gluten, can't have dairy, had stomach aches all the time, and burnt out adrenals. I had ehrlichiosis, which was like way worse than Lyme. I don't have any of those problems anymore. None of these things are a life sentence. They can all be corrected by getting the noise out of your signal and your battery meter up. And once you do that, then your body solves the problem.
But how do you do that without going to you? I mean, you really help people, but what if you're only, people all over the world are going to be listening to this.
Yeah.
How do people go about doing that?
Well, we'll just give you a couple really easy exercises. So the first one is hard, but necessary. And that is speak only truth.
I agree with that 100%, but yes, love that.
Don't lie. Don't tell white lies. Don't make excuses. Make a commitment that you are, energizing your thyroid, that you are speaking your truth. You're knowing your truth and you're speaking your truth, because lies of any kind just put you backwards. A second one is whenever you think about doing something, does it feel does it feel uplifting, or does it feel right? And if you have a choice in the matter, choose just choose whenever, every chance that you get to choose do it. And question, like, all these things that you're doing, are they necessary? Is there someone else that can do it? Is there a way you can reframe it so that it doesn't feel like, that alone too, just going with the going with the updraft, going with the uplift, will help to bring your battery up.
And it doesn't mean to be a lazy slob, right? Because I don't have that great feeling when it comes to doing the dishes, but there is a discipline that you need to have that makes you feel better as well. So it's not an excuse to be lazy. It's not an excuse to, not do things. It's learning how to reframe those things and understanding how it's good for you, right?
And exactly. And sometimes it might be what feels now will feel later. So, at any given moment, I have, 50 things to do. And what I do is I just kind of scan my list. And I go, do I feel like folding laundry right now? No. Do I feel like writing that 10-page paper I need to finish? Yes. Go there. And then when I'm done with that paper, or when I need a break from that paper, then I might feel like folding the laundry. So everything gets done. It's just that it gets done with the force of the universe behind you.
And it might not get done in the order my husband wants it done. He's like really particular. He's the clean freak in the family, and I'm like, I really feel like doing this. Anyways, I know a lot of people out there can feel for me.
We want to honor our natural inclinations. Nature moves nature around. That's what nature does. It's always moving. Nature wants to move you as a free human to be, to maximize what you're here for. And can we learn to trust and follow our own natural inclinations? Many people can't. There's a lot of guilt and duty and obligation and uncertainty. There's so many reasons why we're not in our own truth. And you got to start to pay attention to that. Many people create lives by their own word that take care of everybody around them, but not them.
Mm-hmm.
It's your life.
The science of passion.
Yeah. Yeah, and feeling worthy that what you're feeling drawn towards, that what you're feeling guided towards, what your awe is right for you.
What else?
What else? Okay, avoid chemical scents. Those are, our electrical energy that goes into your brain and they scramble your signal. Don't use things like scented laundry detergent. Don't use any kind of scents. Avoid scents completely, all kinds. Even essential oils, I'd say use them very sparingly. Scents put a big hurting on us. And I think, in the next decade, we're really going to start to understand just how detrimental scents are.
Well, some people think that it's, like lavender and all that stuff is really good for you. So you're saying that in the biofield, it's just not showing that.
I'm just not a big fan. I just don't, the small amounts in the right ways, great. But, to think that essential oils are going to save you, they're not. They're not.
It's not the foundation. It's not your infrastructure. So it's another Band-Aid thing.
Yeah, the reason why you can't sleep is because your adrenal rhythm is all cranked up because your brain is spinning. Like you can dab a little lavender on your nose and help a little bit, but you really, it's these vibrational energetic patterns. Another thing is just paying attention to your thoughts. I worked on somebody recently whose kidneys were going south on them. And what I found was part of the biofield structures are what I call hamster wheels. So there's a hamster wheel of worry where we spin energy on this side of our head. And it's metaphor. I mean, it's just brain activity, but I see it as like this little wheel and I see this little hamster in it. And I got into his hamster wheel and I said, your hamster is going at Mach 10. Like I've never seen such a zippy hamster. It was shocking how much energy his brain was running. He was thinking about this and thinking about that. And meanwhile, he was like sucking all the juice out of his kidneys.
Oh, geez.
So why were his kidneys going south? Because his brain was stealing the energy out of this sort of imbalanced overthinking at unbelievable speed. So, one of the things that I've learned through my work, I spend a lot of time with my brain in alpha because I listen, just listening. 8 hours a day, just listening kind of trains you to go into that alpha state. I don't really think very much. I think very, very little. And in fact, I don't even plan or think ahead or anything. I have planning meetings with my team where I come in and I'm like, okay, now I'm going to think and we're going to think about this. For the most part, I just, put myself into a feeling state of gratitude. Gratitude is the single easiest way to shift your state, to just be grateful for what you've got. And there's no end of things that you can be grateful for. To drop your awareness down into your belly, not in your heart, but in your belly, and breathe deeply into there and just be present. Be present with your senses. What are you hearing? What are you smelling? What are you noticing? Just be present and sense into your environment and be grateful. And that conserves a tremendous amount of energy.
Wow, this is really great insight and great feedback. So where can people hear you speak? I know you do speaking events, and where can they get your book? And let us know where they can learn more about you.
Great. Well, the book is on Amazon. It is also on biofieldtuning.com. I have a YouTube channel too. It's youtube.com/harmonic balancing. That's what Biofield Tuning was called years ago. And I have quite a lot of videos. So, people can watch videos of some of the talks that I've given. I've got some events coming up in 2019, and we'll definitely be adding more to that. I am going to be stepping out of the certification program of Biofield Tuning. It's just mathematically and energetically become impossible for me to continue that. I have a team of great teachers, but I just have, kind of my life is sort of expanding into other things with the new book, with my podcast, with the whole electric thing. So
it's only so much you can do. Yes.
Exactly. And my teachers are really great. I just taught a class with them and I'm like, oh my God, you guys don't even need me. Like, why am I here? I got other things to do. So, but there's lots of resources and there will be more. And there's lots of practitioners. We have hundreds of practitioners all over the world. So, if you want to see if somebody's near you, you can go to the Find a Practitioner page. We do the work at a distance as well. As odd as that sounds, Biofield Tuning can be conducted successfully at a distance. So
wow.
With somebody who's not nearby, you can do that.
Interesting. I'd like to know the science behind that. But thank you so much for joining me today. Will you stick around for my Patrons?
Yes, absolutely. Thanks for having me, Sarah.
With the world being so crazy, I have 2 great gift ideas to help you and your family stay safe. First, the ShockWave Torch. This tiny tool drops a 260-pound thug in 2 seconds. It packs so much power in such a small package, it's scary. Thank God it's got a safety on it. If you want to stay safe in a dangerous world, I promise the ShockWave Torch will help. And for a limited time, Patriot Supply is giving a free military-grade tactical backpack with the purchase of a ShockWave Torch. This awesome backpack has 7 total pockets and 3 interior pockets and multiple storage compartments. It is incredibly comfortable with padded straps and only weighs 3.5 pounds. It has a bomb-proof 600 denier nylon, which means that you can treat it like dirt and it won't care one bit. It's a military-grade mole system, which allows you to have extra gear so you can customize your pack with additional pouches, accessories, holsters, and anything else that you want. They've slashed the price to $29.99 from $90, but now they're giving it away free with the purchase of a ShockWave Torch. Hurry and buy now so you can get your backpack free with the ShockWave Torch while supplies last. Click the link below and learn more about these amazing tools and keep your family safe this coming year.